Aloha, friends and neighbors. This is Rollin Frost, Kona astrologer. This is Rollin Frost here, age, I don't know what, 3, 4. I'm now, 73. You know what? I'm exactly the same person. Yes, it's called spirit. It's the unchanging thing in you. You see, your chart is about your body, and it changes. And it starts and it stops, but there's a person inside you. There's an entity inside you. Yes, and he was exactly the same. I'm the same exact person. I can remember being 7 or 8 years old. You go back and think about it once, twice. The more you go back and remember, the clearer the memories get. But doggone, I'm the same person as I was here. 70 years later, I'm exactly the same person. That's the one that goes on. So you don't die, my friends. No, because you've been in this body all this time. Haven't changed a bit. Just because the body dies, don't think you're going to change. You're going to go on. You'll reincarnate. If you want, you can pick another chart, pick another body, and go on another, I call them the train ride of life. The French called it the spectacle. But if you remember being this tiny child, this kid, and how exactly the same you are, well, that's the one you want to be. And be the observer of the stuff that's going on with the body. That's what the chart follows. Charts don't read you. Charts read your body. Anyway, I wanted to start this show by trying to give you an experience of spirit. You got to go back and remember what it's like to be a really young child, and doggone it, you are exactly the same now, no matter what your age. Yes, that's the unchanging spirit. It's riding on a body that has a chart. That's what we use astrology for. Anyway, that's Rollin Frost. I'm the same. How about you? All right, we're going to do the sky mirror first. And you guys are still operating on the full moon at 18 Aquarius. That's sextile Uranus. The people are in the streets. Higher secular thought, common sense reigns. Yes, I've been watching the business in Missouri, and when the media is out there and everybody's got a video camera, gosh, it's hard to get away with stuff, isn't it? You watch people trying to cover up, and common sense just sees right through it. Amazing. Well, it's all going to change on the 8th. There's a full moon on the 8th, and it changes all the vibes, and it's we have this seesaw going on between Saturn and Uranus. They're at 150 degrees, and either one has power, the other one loses. So you had a month of Saturn having power, wow, and then a full moon October, a full moon at 18 Aquarius, and now Uranus has power and Saturn is losing, and the Saturn characters, Netanyahu, the Israeli, and the police chief in Missouri, and all these folks lost credibility, and Uranus is kicking the rebels, the people in the street. But it only goes until September 8th. Then there's a full moon, and that full moon is at 15 degrees of Pisces, and it shifts it over to Saturn. Yeah, this is a 150 degree angle, and most American astrologers don't hardly recognize it as a major angle. 30 degrees and 150 multiples of it's like that snowflake. People are like snowflakes, They form, freeze up into a body, go their way, have a big life. Eventually they melt and go back to the ocean, and then go back up to the sky and become another snowflake. Each snowflake is different. Each one of you is different. Each one of you has a different chart. Anyway, the seesaw between Saturn and Uranus is 150 degree. The symbol here is a seesaw. The symbol of 30 degrees is an upside down symbol. I'm amazed that astrologers, in the West aren't more akamai about this. Now I draw these in with a dotted red line. But here's Saturn in Scorpio. Mars went by there. I'm still behind that this weekend. Just 3-4 days and Mars will be right on Saturn. I'm waiting to see if the rioting calms down, if the Israeli war and the Iraqi war and the the Israelis are pounding people. We're bombing ISIS. Ukraine is kicking. Missouri. We'll see what happens this weekend. I'll report to you on the next show. As Mars comes by and hits Saturn, I kind of expect him to cool Mars off a little bit. But you never know. These are both the big malefic and the little malefic. And these guys get together in Scorpio. And as long as we have a full moon squaring them, well, they're being kind of lunatic-like. Our president is being a little lunatic-like. The full moon at 18 Aquarius, right on his rising sign. He's overreacting to things, huh? Anyway, on the full moon of the 8th, all the power shifts over to Saturn, and he ought to either calm down or he's going to start, being the Grim Reaper. But I'm watching him. We'll see. It's interesting. Yeah, I would predict that Mars, it's going to get cooler and the heat will go down and the violence will temper off as Mars goes by Saturn. Saturn will repress it. Saturn's like a general, Mars like the soldier. You put the soldier next to the general, what's he do? He behaves himself. Well, here's the pattern of planets. The sun's in Virgo here. I got them all down in their proper places in their travel here going through the middle of Virgo. There's a nice Jupiter is in trine to Uranus. There's a lot of secular knowledge, science, astrology, the mentality of things. The common sense is a lot different than belief. Belief is more Neptune, huh? Pisces. Uranus is more Aquarius. Mercury's moving up to oppose Uranus. And that will happen towards the end of your next week. And you'll get a little jittery in communicating and transportating. So what we do is we got the planetary pattern and all of the angles between these planets, these people, these actors on the stage. We've drawn the lines in expressing, their relationships. What's this? Here's Venus opposing Neptune. Love, sex, divas, girls are going to get real confused here towards the middle of your next week. Watch what happens to your craving for sweets. Anyway, we're going to run the moon around the edge of this planetary pattern, and as the moon moves across here, it makes angles to these planets, and the angles give us the mood of the times. Here, let's work it. Let's show you how it goes. If you're on Friday, the moon's in Capricorn, and Friday afternoon and evening there's a nice trine to Mercury. Communication is excellent. Yeah. The moon moves into Aquarius in before lunch here, about lunchtime on Friday the 5th. Before that it was in Capricorn, and Capricorn has Pluto. Eek, the police! The bugs, eek, a bug, panicky, huh? But in the middle of Friday the 5th, it calms down, and everybody's talking here Friday night. Hopefully this will be the case in Missouri. Secular thinking, common sense clicks in as soon as the moon's in Aquarius. Now, this moon sextiled Uranus, and the moon goes all the way around after the full moon and returns there on Saturday, September 6th. And it starts with this opposition to Jupiter. And we're trying to do too much Saturday morning. It'll calm down, don't worry. Saturday afternoon, here's the sextile to Uranus. The mind clicks in. Common sense secular stuff. An Aquarian feeling of brotherhood is here. It's Saturday, September 6th. The full moon has returned to where it was when it started a month ago. This is Uranus's last chance. The unions, the environmentalists, maybe we can... Did people listen about the incinerator in Hilo? I don't know. Are they listening to the people on the streets in Missouri? I don't know. But here's the last chance for people to organize and have their say, because after this Aquarius passage here, Saturn hits and says, hey, stop that stuff. That's late. That's 9-10 o'clock Saturday night. So if you feel like you're repressed and your freedom is repressed, yeah, that's the feeling, all right, Saturday night. People are ticked off Sunday morning. Here's a square to Mars. Hey, here's the two bad guys. The moon squaring, and we're stuck. We all feel like we're Scrooge Saturday night. We have no money. And then Sunday morning here, well, this isn't even in the morning. This is almost brunch time between breakfast and lunch. There's a square to Mars, and we're ticked off. We're impatient. We're angry. What's going on? There's no fun. And in fact, it goes on through Sunday. The moon shifts into Pisces about noontime on Sunday, the 7th. And you're in a Neptune zone. And there's Venus all confused. She gets all confused about dinner time. And so's your sweets. Don't eat that sugar. Moon goes by Neptune. Here it's like 9-10 o'clock, 8-9-10 o'clock, Saturday night the 7th. A good time for a high sensitive work. A good time for music, color, art, movies, church. Read Jesus. When you read the New Testament, when it says heavens, insert sky, that's the original writing. Anyway, churchy time, Sunday night, and Monday morning the moon's still in Pisces, and there's a nice sextile to Pluto. You just feel like you discovered something, but you're on the full moon. Full moon is Monday, in the middle of the day, at 15 Pisces, and it trines Saturn like Saturn. Oh yeah, rules, regulations, laws. We're a nation of laws. Forget the common sense. Uh-oh. That feels real strong on Monday, the full moon, the trine to Saturn. And there's a little 30-degree angle to Uranus. That's the upside-down seesaw. And here it says, the heck with the people in the streets and the homeless and the environmentalists and all of this secular thinking. No, we want to go with tradition, that full moon says, and it'll feel like that for a month after this September 8th full moon. Here's Mars, Tuesday morning, the moon's still in Pisces. We feel like getting something done. Go fix something. You can fix stuff all the way through Tuesday afternoon. And then the moon shifts into Aries, and it feels different again. And on Wednesday, the 10th, the moon goes by Uranus, and it's very disruptive because Saturn wants to put all these guys in jail. And it's a funny day, Wednesday, because it starts in the morning with the trine to Jupiter. Feels pretty good, really. Now, this day could be quite disruptive. We could get some high wind. It starts pretty nicely, but it turns to panickiness kind of easy here about breakfast on Wednesday. Eek, what's that? Anyway, and by the time you get to noon in the afternoon, moon's going by Uranus, you're going to feel alone. You could have some disruption of communication and transportation because Mercury's there opposing Uranus. And so this is a freaky time. This could be, this is close to eek, a bug, eek, a tornado, a hurricane, an earthquake. There's stuff happening here on Wednesday. Yeah, September 10th. The south node is right here. So the moon's going to go by and hit that south node about dinner time here shortly thereafter. We feel like we need help. Somebody needs help here. So not your normal Wednesday at all. The vibes continue through Thursday till you get to the afternoon, and then the moon shifts into Taurus. and everything changes and it feels more mellow. And Friday morning, the moon sextiles Neptune. We're back in belief, but there's music and there's color and art, and maybe the Pope will help here. Maybe. The moon trines Pluto and Venus, and there's some love and some control around in the middle of the day. But here's Saturn and a square to Jupiter, and the Congress and the authority figures are not acting right. They're overdoing it. Too much authority, too many laws, too much exertion of authority and laws and rules and stuff. And you'll see that Friday night, the 12th, moon in Taurus. Saturday, there's a nice trine to the sun in the morning. You'll have some ambition. Get up, make a plan, get something done. You got to do it early though, because here in the afternoon and evening the moon opposes Mars, and there's difficulties doing physical work. There's anger and impatience instead. When are those guys going to stop fighting? Well, the moon moves into Gemini after dinner on September 13th, Saturday, and it changes and it gets more confusing because Sunday morning here's a moon squaring Neptune. Music, art, religion, ugh, bad smells. And here's Venus caught in the whole thing too. She's opposing Neptune. The girls are lost. Your sugar and sweets and sex trip is out of control. You're all confused. What are you doing there anyway? Truth sets in late Sunday night after dinner with a nice sextile to Jupiter. Wisdom shows up. And late Sunday night, this is actually Monday morning about 2, 3 a.m., there's a sextile to Uranus. Secular thought, we think it out, common sense triumphs. But wow, it sure was confusing Sunday morning, the 14th. Ben Franklin was an astrologer. His Poor Richard's Almanac was an almanac of astrological positions. Yes. Ben said, there never was a good war or a bad peace. Okay, here's a short piece about incinerator. A local issue on the big island of Hawaii. Politicians want to put an incinerator in Hilo and burn all the trash. So I realized, I was at the health department and we had laws saying you can't burn trash. Can't use open burning. You have to have a permit if you want to burn your sugar cane. So I started looking around the laws. It's the same old story, isn't it? There's a law that says you can't kill people, but the government will give you a license to go kill people in the Army or the Navy or the Air Force or the police. So the law says you can't burn trash, but they allow trash burning. This is an old law, but it has to do with the pollutants and emissions that come out of an incinerator, And incinerators have been around for a long time, but I just want to point out the kind of stuff that comes out. Now these are just the recognized things, and these are old, so there's a lot of new trash now. Carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, particulate matter, and they get real technical. TPY means tons per year. Okay, so if you have an incinerator, here's a standard from that says you can burn, and output from the stack could be 0.6 of a ton per year of lead. Now, most real health professionals don't agree at all. Any lead at all in your kid's brain hurts, the smallest amount. So there's a crazy thing in the health and safety environment industry that says you can come down to some minimal level that doesn't hurt you. Well, here for asbestos, that's 100 times more sensitive, 0.007 tons per year. They don't want any asbestos being burnt. No, bad stuff. Here's vinyl chloride gas. Now, these are the three guys I featured on my 28-minute program about incineration. because these are the guys I know about. 1 ton per year of vinyl chloride gas is a liver carcinogen. Okay, and a lot of stuff here: mercury, beryllium, fluoride, sulfuric acid mist, hydrogen sulfide. Here's 10 tons per year. You know, this is probably applicable to the geothermal. But these guys have a lot of little loopholes in the law. If you have a high enough stack, maybe you'll get a permit to burn. Reduced sulfur. There's a bunch of stuff here that municipal waste combustor organics that I don't know too much about. Maybe somebody else does. Dioxins, huh? Whoa, those are the real heavy carcinogens. Municipal incinerators generate dioxins, and 10 to the minus 6th tons per year. Wow, they don't want any of that stuff in there, huh? Just grams. Municipal waste, let's see, particulate matter, 40 tons per year of acid gases and stuff. Anyway, I just thought I'd give you a glimpse of some of the old regulations and point out to you that lead, asbestos, and vinyl chloride gas come out of municipal incinerators. And these standards, as low as they are, they don't let you breathe any asbestos. Well, they're still breathing some, 0.007. Somebody is going to be breathing it. Lead, somebody somewhere. That gas out of that incinerator stack will come down somewhere, probably around the Hilo town. Well, I just watched the Iraqi government somehow convince the USA and President Obama to bomb the ISIS guys because they were getting control of a big dam. And so we bombed them, and we probably killed a lot of people, and a lot of folks are suffering. ISIS came back and did a beheading and beheaded one journalist, and everybody in the country is horrified, and they're all up in arms. You know, beheading is a painless death. Yeah, the guillotine. There was an astrologer named Lavoisier. Lavoisier's gas laws. He was a top chemist. He's very famous in chemistry, but they don't know he's an astrologer. So he was an aristocrat, and they decided to guillotine him. And he said, "Listen, when my head comes off, hold it up, and I'm going to blink my eyes as long as I can. We'll see how long the head lives after the body's separated." And he blinked like, I forget, 12 or 17 times. Anyway, war? Are we joking here? Yeah, we're terrible at killing people. Well, the drugs thing they had in Texas, terrible. You know, torture. The guillotine is quick and painless. It's like a shark biting you. And anyway, policemen everywhere. Everybody carrying a gun. We really in this country are stupid and ignorant and savage in the way that we kill people. Whether we do it, you know, in the prisons under the guise of the government execution, or whether it's the police on the street with their little handguns shooting up civilians, or whether it's the special forces invading Syria to try to rescue somebody and got shot down. It's all guns and it's all killing, and we're lousy at it. You know, we just, it's like the Israelis. You know, they lose one Israeli civilian. They went out and killed 2,000 children. We have a right to protect ourselves. The police have a right to protect themselves, is what they're telling us in Missouri. I'll be darned. I guess he does have a license to do that. I don't know how old, you know, when I was a little boy, 007 came on, and I kind of took that for granted. I was in my terrible 20s. Oh yeah, 007, a license to kill. You realize how ridiculous that is? What if Monsanto had a license to kill? You know, what if the corporations were all licensed? I mean, the government goes around licensing all sorts of stuff, you know, and these handguns are the worst. If the Big Island got rid of all handguns, including the police, the feds, everybody, tourists would flock. the police would be really happy. When I was in OSHA, I once did a thing on their holsters. I talked with police about these handguns. They don't like them. Pulls their spines out to the side. You know, only the fact that they're sitting in a car all the time. If you're going to wear a pistol on your hip, you got to have a brown, what do they call it? The British Brown's belt or something to distribute the weight. But you can't hit anything with them. The whole thing is dumb. Outlaw pistols. And we had a good start. Let anybody get long guns. Who cares about the long guns? Let the police carry long guns. That's fine. It's the pistols that are killing everybody, the short guns. Yeah. Well, I got a license for that. Well, I'm running out of time. I was going to do more on the hurricane, but there's a couple of them out there now at the end of August, but they're all turning north. And, you know, I got a lot of work here on it. But the dates that keep coming up are October 23rd, new moon. And the October 30th, you know, quarter moon shows the aftermath of what happens with transportation communication problems. And it's noticeable that Maui shows a little more of that than Hilo is a little stronger in its disruption of services. So I'm going to say that the October hurricane is going to go by the north side of the Big Island and probably come in on Maui. And but we could all have some down trees. And after that new moon on the 23rd, it's not just in Hawaii. You know, you could be seeing this in like places like New Orleans too. You notice when we had a Niki, there was a huge hurricane in Florida. They don't just happen in one place. At any rate, I'm betting that by October 23rd, could be a few days before that, you're going to be looking at some damage to your wires and to your roads. And transportation communication is going to get more difficult, particularly on the Hilo side. And Lahaina looks like it also gets some wind damage. And I'm sure that the rest of the islands will too. I'll do more on that later. I invite you to go back and remember your youth when you're 8, 9. You know. This culture tells you you're going to die, go to heaven or hell. Scares me badly. No, you don't. You continue. You continue.